Welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat Podcast, y'all. I am your host, JoJo.
And I'm Dyra.
Ooh. Hi. What's poppin', y'all?
What's poppin'?
It is real life hot.
So we went to Preciosa night. That was, last weekend?
I can't keep up with all the weeks.
We didn't talk about it yet.
Okay.
Because we recorded like the day before we went.
Okay.
But we saw so many people. Like, I think that's the most people that I've seen all in one night. Like, we saw a lot of people in LA, but I feel like at Preciosa night in Brooklyn, we saw like a lot more people. Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that came and said hi.
Yeah.
It was so much like excitement, and like positive, just vibes and energy. And I feel like it was so much, like people showed us so much gratitude.
Yeah.
And it was like really, really nice.
Yeah. And I feel like at the moment, I didn't put two and two together when it comes to people who comment and DM us. Just because it's like, it was just like a lot. And then looking back at it, I'm like, oh, I remember them. Like, I remember their picture. Like, I remember their Instagram picture and things like that.
I ain't gonna stunt. She's way more active on our social media than I am.
Mm-hmm.
So
I be wondering if they're like, who posted this or like who's responding, because we don't.
You don't really know. We don't specify, but just know about 98% of the time it's Dyra.
She has the app. I don't know why she don't engage. But you don't even do that on your own social media, though.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not even that, like involved
active
in my own platforms. But I pop in every once in a while. Sometimes I read the messages and I might be the one responding. Same thing with the emails, but we haven't done emails in a little bit, so.
Oh yeah, that's a story for another day.
It's all still a work in progress.
Yeah, but it's
like our Patreon
that we're gonna go back to. Yeah. It's just summertime and we're doing so many things at once and Pride, so we want to make sure that we're giving you guys like 100% and not like half-assing things, which is why we haven't opened it up yet, but we will. Wait until it gets a little like, a little colder maybe. I don't know.
When we stuck inside.
Got nothing else.
And got to entertain ourselves.
Yeah, but like I'm just trying to really enjoy summer because we don't have it that long.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I feel like I'm always in between like, oh, let's save money and like, let's stay in. And then as soon as people invite you somewhere, I'm like, I'm down.
Let's go.
I'm down. Because it's like I said, next thing you know, it's going to be fucking freezing and we're going to be home and not want to go out because it's too cold to go out. And yeah, it's just
I have to ask her before planning anything because I feel like there's always something going on.
And she don't write things in her calendar.
I don't, because I'd be like, I don't got nothing going on anyway. Like when that day comes, she'll tell me. And then when it's getting closer to that time or like somebody asks me to do something, I'm like, hold up, babe, we got anything that weekend? But it gets confusing at times too because it's like there's something every weekend. And
that's why you gotta write it in your calendar.
I can't.
We're gonna have to like sync calendars or something.
I thought we were doing that already. That's why I low-key do be looking, and I'm like, oh, never mind. So like the next couple things that come up in July, I actually had to put it in.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, all right, but I don't understand why we don't sync calendars already. I thought that was already a thing.
I don't know. I gotta figure it out.
We haven't been to the beach once yet.
We haven't because we've just been so busy
partying.
But it's also like, during the week we can't go because I work. So it's like it's really just the weekends, and that's so crazy.
Which is honestly, I think the weekdays are the best times to go anyway, because it's not that.
So for people who live like right by the beach, you gotta take advantage of that. Yeah. But for people who live right by the beach, they're so used to it that they're like whatever.
And it's been very rainy on weekends. Like we have off the weekends, and of course the weekends are like, oh, chances of showers, thunderstorms, like.
But then it's like, I heard that it's only going to get even hotter. And I feel like at that point, the beach isn't enjoyable. Yeah. Like, you have to go to a pool.
Yeah.
Because it's like too hot to be there.
You're like low-key suffocating. But I need a tan. I'm too pale.
You'll get a tan.
One day.
But yeah, it was really nice to see so many people at Preciosa night who said hi. Like, we really began so gassed. So
Thank you.
yeah,
All in all, it was a really cool event too. If you haven't been,
it was lit.
yeah, to any of the Preciosa
We were there
nights.
early and we left a little bit early. I think it ended at 4. We left at like 2. But they were lit.
2 is like 2 is not. I mean, it's earlier than the time it was supposed to be till, but 2 is standard.
Yeah, I mean that's the
like
time
the time the clubs is closing.
That's when the club closes. So I'm like, what you mean? Like I really thought it ended at 2, and then I hear that it ends at 4. I said, oh no, I'm tired. Like I'm a tired girl. So yeah.
Anything else?
All right, so let's get into today's episode. What are we talking about?
Okay, so today's episode, I wanted to chat a little bit. I feel like we've mentioned, breakup and shit, and we actually had one of our very few episodes where we talked about life after heartbreak and just kind of, gave a little bit into our experience with like our first heartbreak and shit and how we, pretty much like moved through it. And I remember last episode we had mentioned something, and basically I remember saying that the summertime come rolling around, and like when the weather breaks, it seems like people be single and ready to mingle, like knocking out of relationships and shit. And recently, I mean, it's a little late now, but recently, we've been catching up with some of our YouTube influencers, and everybody's like breaking up. So I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, we were just talking about this. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just crazy.
She want to talk about chinche.
Just a little bit. So we have mentioned some of the influencers that we follow, queer influencers, lesbians and shit. Easy and Natalie being one of them, which it just came out that they're broken up.
Yeah, but like I wonder how official it is. And like if you don't know these people, maybe we'll like include their YouTube or their picture. We'll see because Jojo be doing the YouTube editing.
Yeah.
But Easy and Natalie are this queer black couple, and they've been dating for so long, and they started off as friends, right?
They were best friends, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know 100% of their story because I haven't been following them since the beginning, but apparently Natalie was like straight before she met Easy. And they were friends, and then I guess like, they fell for each other, and they've been on YouTube and everywhere. Doing a damn thing. Yeah, like they're everywhere. Yeah. Like millions of followers type shit. Yeah. And they're popping. And the other day I was like, damn, I haven't seen their YouTube videos in a while.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months since they posted a YouTube video. Like the last one that they posted, they went to Malaysia, I think.
I don't know.
It looked like Bora Bora. I don't know. Yeah, it looked
somewhere
super nice, super fancy. And that was like the last time.
Yeah.
And then Easy put up a video saying that like they broke up, but like kind of like they're on a break.
Yeah. They be catching us with the like titles. What is that called?
Easy always does that.
Yeah. And that's how they get you, suck you in. You like, hold up. Let me see real quick.
It's called clickbait.
Yeah.
When you say some wild shit, so like people could like click on it.
But I didn't think it was a legit one. I'm like, okay, they ain't posting a little bit, but let's be real. Like, I mean, they make big money doing that shit. Where if we don't post for a while, we ain't missing nothing. But still, I'm like, oh, life happens. Like people just, people get busy.
Especially since they do so much now.
Right. So I didn't think nothing of it. And then when I seen that, I was like, nah. I feel like that's been clickbait before for them.
Right.
So I was like, man, they gassing. But I did watch it and I was like, oh, but from the video at least that I watched, it was that they're on a break, kind of like they're broken up, but I don't know how much of a, if it's an official breakup or like we kind of just need space to, give back to themselves type thing.
Right.
Another couple that has recently broken up, which I was like a little shocked about it.
So tragic.
Is Cass and Carly.
Yeah. So to give you guys another recap of them, they are a Latina queer couple, or used to be, and they were in a throuple.
Yeah, they were like YouTube's like
So it was two guys.
Favorite throuple.
It was two girls and one guy.
Yeah.
And they had like a big YouTube channel. They had a big TikTok, and like people love them. They look popping, and you don't see thruples.
No.
It's like you just don't see that. Like, what is that, right? And it was like Cass was married to the man for 10 years, and then Carly came in as like the third, and then she was like their girlfriend. I think they proposed to her at once. I don't remember.
It was a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Don't take us at our word, but
yeah. So that's like a little recap. But then okay, so then they broke up with the guy, got a divorce, so the guy left, and
they stood together,
right? And they started their own channel, just the two girls.
And again, they were popping, they were serving, giving, doing their thing,
right? And we met Cass in LA, and she was super cool. She said, "Oh, I'm from Jersey."
She's cool as fuck.
I was like, "Oh wow, that's cool. Small world." And
I feel like everybody's from Jersey. That's in Cali.
Sometimes I really have to shut up because when I be drinking, I be so nice. I'm like, "Girl, where's Carly? Where's Carly?" And I honestly don't even remember what she said. But then after I saw that they broke up, I was like, "Ooh." I should have never asked her. I said, "Where's Carly?"
I don't even ask those questions. Like, if I don't see your partner here, then that's none of my business, because I know what it is to be asked that question, and it's salty as fuck. Like, bitch.
I don't know. I mean, I literally was just like, it's just so normal. Like, I didn't see them breaking up, but then at the same time, you don't know anything of what people post online. And there were another big couple who posted a lot of like YouTube, sometimes clickbait stuff, things like that. So that there are people that we like watch occasionally, and then that was another couple that I was like, damn, I haven't seen them post in a while.
Yeah, because they were very active. But yeah, they apparently, we actually watched their video on basically talking about their whole breakup scenario as well, and it was just like another thing of one not I guess fulfilling the type of life that they wanted, and it was a lot. But I think most of these breakups come down to like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the video of their breakup, and it just seemed like Carly was like not okay with like their lifestyle. But I'm not 100% sure like what she meant by that, but it was just kind of like she was living in Cassie's world. Cassie's
Cassandra,
world.
Yeah.
And kind of just getting lost in that and not really maybe worrying about like what she wants. I don't know.
I just remember her saying that she didn't feel like the main character in her own story anymore, and that she was having a hard time navigating through her own like version of what a successful career was looking like for her. So, which I get it. I feel like in relationships, when you have a partner and try to make everything one, I feel like sometimes one can always take the lead more, and you just kind of go with it. And it's no secret that we all lose ourselves in a partnership. So, sometimes I think it's necessary to kind of take that space and find yourself.
Yeah.
So they did break up. Again, don't know if like it's a future thing of we'll get back together, but all in all, we wish them the best.
It sucks because I feel like you be rooting for these people, and then you see like this side, and then you're like, wait, what do you mean? Like, you guys look like you were happy.
But I think like that's the false narrative, is that it's easy to make it look like you're happy on camera, and you essentially get to paint that picture of like to the world, like this is what, in all actuality, no matter how much they show you, it's still limited. There's still a limitation on it. We don't see everything, and I think like that's one of the things that got me about like public, like social media relationships, is like I'm here for it. I love it. I have, like I said, there's couples that I've been involved in, like watching. And I'm like rooting for them, like, oh my God, y'all so cute. And then it's like such a surprise when they actually break up. But I'm just like, I mean, it happens.
That's life.
Yeah, like it happens. It is what it is. And I think that's one of the things I've always mention to her is like, damn, like not that I'm wishing for it, not that I expect us to break up, but it's just like nobody really expects that, Nobody really plans like, oh, I'm gonna break up. Like, sometimes it just happens, and not that I wonder, but sometimes I think like, damn, what would that look like for us? In terms of like our platform, and our platform isn't even as big as like those YouTubers and shit. But
it's scary because I feel like to put your relationship out there in the world, like sometimes I think about that too, and then I'm like, I don't know if I could like, let's say we were to break up, I don't know if I could date normally again. Because it's like, I don't know who really know.
Yeah.
I don't know who's seen my videos and who's heard the podcast and who like is a supporter. But then it's like, it could get a little like weird when it comes to romantic relationships. Because it's like, you know way too much about me and I don't know nothing about you.
Right. So they kind of got the one up.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's interesting. But I mean, people do it. People be putting relationship after relationship on the internet. That's their shit.
I don't think I could do that. I think
there's other couple just broke up. It was a gay couple. It was two guys.
Oh my god!
What is it called? Nikki
and
Pierre and Nikki.
Or Nick. I only know Pierre's name.
Yeah, so they're super cute and they have millions of followers. Like they're supermodels. Like literally supermodels, like perfect. And they were together for years. And
they were like married. I didn't even know they were married.
Yeah, they were married and they just got a
divorce.
Big oof. And I'm telling you, like all their videos are like mad cute. And I was like, what? You guys broke up? Like, why?
But I also think that it puts a strain on your relationship too, because it's just like,
that's what they were saying.
When you get so involved in the social media aspect of it and like wanting to give that content to your following, I feel like it can get in the way, and it can definitely blur lines within a relationship, because now everything just feels like businessy, you know? Everything's just the brand. Like your relationship becomes a brand.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
That the relationship became a brand, and it was like,
and I feel like sometimes one over the other gets a little bit more involved and obsessed with the idea of that brand and like upholding the, the
expectations.
Yeah.
And then money gets involved, which is also complicated.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if this is your job and you take your job seriously, it's like, girl, we doing this damn video. And we making this money. Like, and if someone else is just like, I'm not in the mood, I don't feel like doing it, or I don't want to do it, then it gets complicated because now you guys are like coworkers.
Yeah.
And like with this podcast, I mean, we're not making that much money, but we make some money here and there with ads. And it could be a lot.
Yeah.
Because we got to be on the same page, and like we have to like, I don't know how to describe it.
I mean, it's like everything in one, Yeah, you want to build together and have this like, this partnership in a business aspect too. But then it's just like when it's so close to home, if we're not on this, like you said, if we're not on the same page and like we're not balanced, then how do we perform well in like terms of this? Because there's times where we're a little annoyed, or one's feeling it and the other isn't, or it's just some imbalance. So then to have to sit in front of a camera and be like, all right.
And you know what's so crazy about this? Like, I work in influencer marketing, and like sometimes brands make you redo videos. So for Pierre and Nikki, they would do a lot of like lovey-dovey videos. Imagine having to redo that all the time. It's fake. It's
not authentic.
Like no, like I would be like, well, that's it. You get one shot, and if you don't like it, then we're not doing it. Because then now you're forcing this like lovey-dovey thing, and it's like,
it's already weird.
Then now it's awkward and it's weird, and it was fun and funny the first time, and now we gotta do it a second time or a third time.
Yeah,
come on now.
And if you gotta do that shit all the time, at that point, I would be in my head like, is this legit, or is this just like
for the camera?
For the camera, like,
yeah.
I want my lovey-dovey off camera too. Like
that's the thing, yeah.
So it's like finesse when it's just like why are you doing the most? Oh, because the camera's here.
Because the cameras are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But enough of the breakup jewels. I mean, not enough of the breakup because we're still talking about breakup. But today's episode, I kind of just wanted to get into, the good things that come from a breakup.
And I feel like this is necessary to hear because like lesbian breakups are so tough and like so like heartbreaking, and I truly don't know why.
I think it's because it's almost like losing your best friend.
That's
like
true.
Again, I think as women, like our connection and our ability to bond is so strong that when it comes to the end, like you never really know how to like end it. You don't really envision an ending. When it's happening, you're like, ugh, like what does life look like without this? It just seems really hard.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know it hurts. It's devastating, and you don't think you'll ever get through it. But look at your now, sis. You made it. Here you are.
It's literally like a roller coaster because I feel like in the beginning, you could be two different type of people. Like I heard that when guys, for straight couples, for guys, like when they go through a breakup, they be like whatever.
Yeah.
Like right after the breakup, they're like whatever, but then it hits them afterwards. And with women, it's the opposite. With women, it hits them like right during the breakup, and then afterwards they're good. So it's like they go through this low, but once they get through that, then they're like on this.
Yeah, they're ready to take on the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you go through I know, like, I went through a boatload of emotions. Like, you're sad, you're angry, like, you're like, you know what, fuck them. Like, it don't even matter. So you, like, start hyping yourself up. Like, I'm about to do all these things. Like, I'm about to, and then it's just like, it just comes back around. And it's just like, you don't know what it's going to be when you wake up, But, I mean, all you can do is push through. That's really it.
Right.
So, I was telling her that while I was looking some shit up, I came across this article, and what is this guy's name? Mark Manson, who's the author of that book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah, I have that book.
Yeah. I don't remember. I remember reading it because it was like the popular like book of the, I don't know,
Of the
that
time.
Yeah, that time frame. And, everybody want to know how to not give a fuck. I don't really remember how that book went, but it was decent. But he actually has like a whole website full of all types of articles. Like, the one that I read that I'm about to bring up is how to know like whether to stick it out in a relationship or like break up with someone. And I feel like that's like a big thing for people, is like, obviously it's natural that when you're in like a shit space with your partner, you're just like, this must be the end. Like, I don't want it to be, but at this point it almost feels impossible to move forward and like just see it through. But I really think that depends on how you deal with your the differences and whatever it is that you're fighting about. And then some people just don't care. Like, they're just like, yeah, I'm off this. Like, I'm not about to do this every time. That's why I be saying healthy is hard. It's hard, but it's not impossible.
So what did you learn about, like, when do you know it's the end?
I see, but it's never like you just know it's the end. It's really just about like navigating through it. Like, that's what I took from it. So he had a couple like contents, like it's a table of contents where you can like click on the certain paragraph that you wanted to read. And the first one was identifying the real problem. Like, what is the real problem that you guys are having? And really like going through the breakdown. Is it like something you could actually work through that you guys just need to have an understanding for it to no longer be a problem? Like, sometimes it's a problem with ourselves, and we just have to identify what it is instead of just thinking like, oh, this is like end all be all, The second one was the communicating the problem in a healthy way. So we actually recently did this. I'm not gonna put us on blast, but we actually recently did this where, sometimes when we get into disagreements or arguments, I guess I try to be vocal initially because I don't like the idea of like unsettled issues, which I've told her before. Like, I was never like that. Like, I would be the one who would just be like, all right, I'm not about to talk about this right now. Like, it's whatever. And I'm not like that with her. I like want to get into it and find like a happy medium because I don't want our house to be imbalanced. But she's more so on the I need space. Like, I kind of don't want to have this conversation right now. I need to like it's just not the right time for me. So I gave her that space and I was like melting. I was on like emotional overload and I was like, I don't know what to do because it's like, again, I don't want to interrupt her space if it's not her time, but it's like also almost not fair to me because I have to bite the bullet. So, I took it upon myself to record a voice memo because I don't want to type a long ass message. I feel like a lot of things can be like misunderstood and redirected.
I hate long texts.
Yeah, and it's just like, if they really don't care to fucking read it, then it's just like you spent all that time doing that for what? So I actually recorded a voice memo, and I had sent it to her, and I was like, if I don't know where you're at right now, I want to give you as much space as you need, but I also don't want to be stuck in my suffering. So I sent her that, and I was like, listen to this when you're ready, and then when you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But at the very least, I got it off my chest. And she listened to it, and she told me she listened to it, and I was like, okay, like, at least you listened to it, and you kind of knew where I was at and where I was standing. And then it eventually she did later that day after I sent it to her. She was like, we can talk about it. And honestly, I think I was very proud of us. It was a very good talk. There was no yelling. There was no like shade thrown.
I was shocked.
Why were you shocked?
Because I didn't know how the conversation was gonna go, and I feel like in previous conversations that we've had, I had told you like I don't like the way you say things, or like it was like it felt like an argument, and I'm like we're having a conversation, and I was just like this better not go that way because I feel like there's too many things to talk about for it to go that way, and if it does go that way, nothing's gonna be resolved, and we will be here in circles.
I can be here in circles. No, I can understand that, and I think that that's because when we finally talk, it's like that, moment to get the shit off your chest, because essentially, in the time of the argument or like the disagreement, you're just like kind of identifying the problem, but not really, because now you're saying what the hell was wrong, and then you're just like, well, that's. That was my problem with that. And then you get the issue when it gets to a point where it's like you're not comfortable or it's you don't agree with what's being said. But I think like that's why I felt like I needed to make that audio, because I knew that when it came to us talking, it was just going to be too much going on, and it was going to take away from a solution. It was going to take away from the actual understanding and like just talking part of it. So I think that it helped because I got to get my feelings off my chest, and what like I was holding in so much, and because I was hella emotional about it too. So I think like I don't like the idea of having to be that emotional, because now it takes away yeah,
that's the other thing.
Yeah. And when you're being emotional in front of someone, I feel like, and the other person, not that it needs to be reciprocated because people deal with their emotions very differently. However, like for me, if I really, really like, if it's really heavy on me, and I start to say the shit in my head out loud, it kind of chokes me up. And I feel like I've cried in front of her fairly often, not to my liking. But she's not much of a crier. So then it's just like,
you're a lie. Don't lie.
no, you've cried, but I think like it's not as much as I feel like I have shown. So now it becomes an insecurity for me. Not as much, but like in times of my vulnerability, I'm just like, here I am crying again. And then it's just like, you know, it's because you kind of feel like you're not being heard, or it's like that heavy sense of emotion isn't reciprocated. And I didn't want to feel like that. Like, you need to reciprocate the same energy. But I also didn't want like the fact that I'm feeling so much to be dismissed. Because I think it's very easy for me to think that she's being dismissive because she's not reciprocating the energy. But again, that's what the audio did for me. It was just like, I can be vulnerable and get my emotions out. She can listen to it and, you know, have her version of it. And also because I feel like you kind of get, when you try to talk about everything at once, you get lost. You don't even remember where you were at, what the topic of conversation was, because now you brought up the next like thing that's been bothering, you know? So I think that was the most effective way.
I think that was smart. It kind of reminds me of like journaling in a way, because you just kind of put all your feelings out there and all your thoughts like out there.
Did you write like a note and was like, okay, she said this from like 1 minute
no,
to 5 minutes to 5 minutes, you know?
No, I didn't. I just mentally like remembered like, okay, this is the main one I want to talk about, is one of the ones that really bothers her, and I want to address it, because that in the argument it's like, those weren't my intentions to make you feel that way.
Right.
So I wanted to address that one first, because I was like, we gotta talk about that one. That one is like important. And then everything else afterwards, it was like from like most important to like least important. But yeah, it was super effective, and I feel like communication is not easy. It's like something that we struggle with still, something that a lot of people struggle with, not even like friendships too. It's not just like a partnership, it's with your friends, with your family. Like, I feel like everyone has their own way of communicating. And like I said, I don't do the long texting.
Yeah.
It's like I can't, like, because then it's like you're reading it and you don't know their tone, you don't know like how they're saying it. So I feel like things get misconstrued through that too.
Yeah.
So it's just best to do it in person.
Yeah.
Or like over the phone or something.
And even when you think like you've mastered like a communication style with your partner or with a friend, I feel like it's still always subject to change. Like, it all depends, like, I think at least for us, is like what state we're in, the headspace we're in, you know, and like how we want the conversation to go. So I don't want it to ever, like, when we say we still struggle with communication, like, everybody still struggles with communication, because sometimes we can revert back to the, you know, unhealthy communication because we're just, you know, sometimes you kind of lose yourself. But it's always like a battle. Like, it's always, you know.
And I feel like I try to avoid conversations when emotions are high, because it's just like, it's too much. Like, I feel like it's like we need to take a breather, because then you say things that you didn't mean to say. So it's just like, for me, I'd rather just not say anything.
Yeah. We know. But back to the table of contents to this article. Number 3 was, can you live with a compromise? If I can remember correctly, when I was reading that portion of the article, it was like, do you feel like you're compromising like values, like big things? And you know, like, obviously, if it feels like a compromise, obviously you kind of shouldn't stick it out, you know, because it's always going to be an issue, you know, and that comes with like beliefs and core values, like the important things. But you're like, there was another thing he mentioned that was called preferences. Like, if you and your partner don't like the same things, you're not compromising at the fact that like, oh, okay, well, you don't like the same thing, so we can't do the things I want to do. Like, nah, that's a preference. If you want to eat what you want, that's fine. I can eat what I want. We don't have to eat the same shit. We don't got to do the same things. It's okay. We can have our differences. You know, it's not necessarily compromising.
Yeah.
And the last topic in the table of contents was if you decide to end things. And pretty much it was just giving you the breakdown of what is the best way to do it. One, not breaking up with someone through text message. And that was like one of the examples. And I was like, oof, that is petty.
I can't believe people do that.
Yeah, but when he was talking about it, it was like, like, you know, sometimes if you know people are crazy or you think they might react a certain way, maybe that was the safest bet in that time.
That's true.
But that isn't always, you know, the best way to do it. It was like, don't do it in public, do it in person, but not like in public places, more so like a one-on-one, and how to like, you know, stick with it after it happens, and, you know, kind of just keep the distance from and less contact or cut all contact at that, you know. It was a real informative article. I liked it, so I would check it out. Mark Mason, y'all. There was a lot more shit from them. And then I went on to find a TED Talk. I watched some of it.
Oh,
I didn't watch all of it. It was like 10 minutes.
I love TED Talks.
And it was talking about, it was like an article and it added the TED Talk.
Okay.
It was from Psychology Today. That's where I got it from. Okay. So basically, in that article, it was talking about how, like,
in the TED Talk.
Well, the TED Talk was kind of the same thing.
Okay.
But the article was just saying like, breakups don't have to be like, we know that they're devastating, but they're not end all be all. Like, positive things also come from the end of a relationship. So like some of the examples that I kind of jotted down was like giving back to yourself. You know, when we're in a partnership, how we're always involved and worried about our partners and trying to do things together, you kind of like get your space back. You know, you get a chance to recreate yourself again and be the person that maybe you couldn't be in that relationship. Another thing is just surrounding yourself with people and being in environments that you couldn't be in before, or that you didn't think you wanted to be in. You know, that you start being open, trying new things. You start taking care of yourself, becoming more healthy, getting involved with projects and hobbies. You know, you just give back to yourself.
When people are single, like, they be in their prime.
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna do anything and everything. Why? Because you only gotta pay for yourself.
Right. Like, it's like, I have a really good friend who's single, and she's read almost 15 books already this year. She be going to the gym every day. She be eating healthy. Like, she's just living life. Yeah. And she's okay being single.
I think like, we know that though. Like,
yeah, but I don't mean that in a way of like, when you're in a relationship, you don't do those things. Right. It's just like when you're single, it's like it's like you're kind of like selfish, because it's like, I don't gotta worry about nobody but myself. Right. Like, especially if you don't got kids, it's like, I'm on my time.
Yeah. Right. You know? I can do it when I want, how I want, wherever I want, with who I want. And there's not like not that your partner should like stop you from doing those things. Yeah. Being in a relationship, you should stop. I think it's just when we get in a relationship, we get comfortable. And then sometimes the line, I feel like, can get blurred, where you're just like, all right, like, you know, I can't do those things, or since we're not doing it together, like, have that individuality.
For sure.
You know, practice that, whether it's just, you know, spending an hour away from each other or getting into activities separately from one another. Like, I think we do our best doing that. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, people really do be in a prime when they're single. I'll be like, bitch, I'm ready to go. And
they're prime.
I feel like one of the big things that people take away from like, I'm single now, like, I need to work out. You know, obviously when you're single, you're just like, I need to get back to like looking fine.
But
you know?
that's another reason. It's like, you in your prime because low key you want to meet somebody. So it's like, you want to look good. Yeah. You are motivated to look good. So you're going to the gym. You're doing these things. You're trying to put yourself out there. You're going to the bar. You know, you're posting the thirst traps.
Yeah, like you just going straight out into the streets. But I think like it don't have to be like bettering yourself and giving back to yourself doesn't essentially have to be I gotta work out. I gotta get on
No.
this grind or whatever. Like, you know, most people, like we said, you know, you want to work out because you want to look fine again. I mean, that's fine. You know, go about it in a healthy way, but it doesn't have to be I gotta go to the gym and bang out. Like, take a fucking polo class or like, you know, do a yoga class. Like, there's all different type of activities that you can get yourself physically involved in to get to where you want to be.
And I think sometimes the whole working out, like right after you get out of a relationship, could be toxic. Like I see videos and I even see people like, are you crying right now? Like as you're working out, like you know. So it's like
it's kind of like a bury. I feel like it's a burying.
And then they be like doing the most, like truly like overexerting their body sometimes, and I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Yeah, I feel like anything could be bad if you do too much of it.
Yeah,
like even working out, like you could literally like hurt yourself, you know.
And while it can be like a you know, some people do lean into it to where it becomes a lifestyle. Some people just end up falling off of it. Like it doesn't become
it's like waves.
Permanent. Right. Yeah.
We all go through that.
Yeah. But I think one of the best things is definitely getting to know yourself. And learning things, challenging yourself to learn new things and experience new things.
For sure. Like saying yes to things that you weren't gonna say yes to.
Big facts. What's one of the things you want to say yes to?
What do you mean?
Like if there was something that you think you would say no to and you're just like, fuck it, I would do it. Don't say skydiving because I'm not going. That's a hard no for me. You'll never get a yes for that.
Why? I want to go skydiving.
Okay, and I'll meet you at the bottom.
Oh, Lord. Don't be boring.
I just want to be alive. That's it. And after watching Who Killed Sarah, I don't know that I want to parasail either.
Okay, so I did the whole parasailing thing once, and it was fun, but I've seen too many scary stuff now that I don't know if I could do it again.
Yeah.
Like I saw a TikTok. This is so off topic. There was a dad and a mom and like a little baby. Well, not baby. He was like a child. The mom and the child went parasailing. The dad is waiting for them down there. It was bad weather. They still went parasailing. Don't know why. Tell me why the weather was so bad.
This was recent, right?
I don't know. That it was like pulling the mom and the child, and it was like
yanking the boat.
So you know what the man in the boat did? He cut it.
I would kill him.
He literally cut the parasail, so they like went flying, and
they like crashed into a bridge or something.
And I think the mom passed away, and the child's in like bad condition. I don't know, but it was some wild shit. I mean, like, okay, granted, the weather is bad. Who's running this here? Why are you still doing the parasail if the weather is bad? Right. Like, we're trusting your judgment. I would have killed him if I was that man. Yeah, I would have killed him.
Yeah, that's hard.
But yeah, back to the talk.
So I just wanted to give like the example of what he was saying in a TED Talk. If you want to look it up on YouTube and listen to it and need a little bit of, you know, just that talk with yourself. It's called Breakups Don't Have to Leave You Broken. And that's big facts. Ooh. So in the TED Talk, I forget the guy's name, but he was saying, make no mistake, relationships are the single most important thing to you in your life. It's the source of all your best memories. It's the source of all your worst memories. When you think back on your life, when you're 95 or 100 years old, you look back over the course of your lifetime. You're not going to think, I wish I owned a better phone, or I wish I spent more time on the internet. I wish I spent more time at work or sleeping. It's not going to be any of those things. It's going to be, I wish I spent more time with the people I love, because our relationships build us, they define us, they sustain us, and they can break us too. And that's on period. I agree. And then the last like quoted thing from the TED Talk was, by the end of the relationship, you now have the opportunity to thrive. The research backs this up. I don't know how to say that last name.
Say it again. You said by the end is by ending the relationship.
Oh, sorry. By ending the relationship, you now have the opportunity to thrive. Research backs this up. When people get out of relationships with insufficient self-expansion, they report a range of positive emotions. they're relieved, they're calm, and they're energized, confident, strong, and happy. They also report less loss of self, more positive growth, and more rediscovery of self. Jesus. In other words, they're recapturing the person they were before the relationship, rekindling their interest, and refocusing on themselves.
That's what I was trying to say with like people who are single, that they be in their prime. It's like it's like it's you.
Reinvest in themselves.
Right. It's you. It's about you now.
Yeah. That's big facts. So that's it. That's all I have for like, thriving after a breakup. Breakups don't have to be broken, like the TED Talk said, yo.
And we have like this breakup playlist that we started, and some like listeners added songs to it. I think it's still linked to our bio. So go ahead and listen to that, because sometimes you just need a good cry and a good, like, let me just put the music as loud as possible as I'm driving.
Even when like I'm in a good state in my relationship, I still play breakup music.
Oh my lordy.
And I'll be like,
why?
I don't know. You
love drama.
I don't know. I like a lot of R&B and like music that gets me in my feels. Yeah. Because it gets me in my feels. Like I got my happy shit and I got my thug shit, but like I'm always trying to be in my feels. It's just it's a vibe.
I feel like I used to do that too, but like as of recently, I haven't been doing that.
She's heavy podcasting, yo. I don't hear her listen to music in the car. Like she'll play some shit. Usually it's like
I do not play podcasts when you're with me though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'll hear you play it throughout the house or like you know, when you're working out. But like in the car, if I'm in the car with you, you'll play music. Yeah. And usually it's like the same whatever's like popping at the time or dembo or some shit. Yeah. But other than that, like I feel like we don't listen to the same music.
Here and there. I really be like, let me see what Spotify put me on. Like, I be listening to whatever Spotify puts on. Like, I don't have like a specific playlist that I started.
She's not like,
just put me on Spotify. I don't care.
Or she'll look up an artist and Spotify will just play all their shit.
Right, all of the music. But it's funny because I feel like, okay, so as a child, when I would be in the car and my mom would be listening to some fucking radio, just people talking, I'm like, why are we listening to this? I said, please put some music on. Right. And now I'm like that, where I'm like listening to people
just chatting,
just talking. But I also feel like I do that because it makes you feel less alone too. And I feel like you learn shit. Like it's like it's kind of like you're in the room with them, where it's like you're literally just overhearing the conversation. And I just be learning so much stuff about like just life, honestly.
Yeah. But she also be listening to people talk shit a lot, so. You like a little drama too, babe.
Here and there, yeah. Of course.
Nah, I'm all about the music. I'll walk around all day with my music playing on my phone, and I'll be like, maybe I should start listening to podcasts. It depends.
Yes, I saw when every time I see that she's listening to a podcast, I'm like, oh, I know what podcast that is.
Yeah, but in the car, I don't fuck around. I'm not here to talk. I'm playing music because I want to sing my fucking heart out.
Sometimes like music will make me fall asleep, so that's why I need to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, that's why I can't be in a car with her. Oof, because she'll be on her phone like, and I'm like, sing it, babe, sing it, let's go, and she's like.
All right. Anyways, let's go into the family meeting. This episode is mighty long.
It's okay.
All right.
I'll have fun editing.
I have a friend, and we've been. Yeah, are so funny. I have a friend, and we've been going to sleep on the phone, flirting and everything. All our friends noticed, and my family as well. So I told her how I felt, and she told me it wasn't like that. But recently, she told me she had feelings, but chose to move on because her family isn't accepting. But she tried to talk to me last year, but now her family is in the way. So I'm confused. I don't know what to think. What should I do? Reading this was extremely difficult.
I was trying. It was not that bad.
Okay. So it sounds like she was talking to a girl, and now the girl is kind of like she's in the closet.
It's giving. I have a straight friend, and she's actually overly comfortable with me, and you know, it came off to me that she was kind of like, you know, fucking with me, and I actually ended up liking her. I told her I liked her just for her to tell me that her over friendliness was just her being a friend.
But then she also said that her
And
family
then
doesn't accept it.
Correct. And then eventually to be like, oh well, she did tell me, maybe she could try. But I feel like sometimes that's what it is. Like,
What?
I get there's
It's
some
what?
straight girls that are like over friendly and da da da, and then it's like, I don't know, you could kind of tell like
You're
you
not
say it's
gay.
over friendly, but I think it's just you care about what people think, and you're
And you're
just
low-key
not.
gay.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And honestly, you gotta leave people
And they
like
don't
that.
even gotta be
You
gay.
gotta leave them alone.
Sure, maybe you're just like curious, or you actually just like that person. It can be like that sometimes, but I just think that that's when like those are the people in that state of like what what people think is what they care about, so they allow that to dictate what they're willing to experience.
Yeah, you gotta leave people like that alone.
Yeah.
Because what are you gonna do? Like try to change their mind and try to no.
Yeah. Oh, but let you go on and do your thing, and then
They're mad that you're doing your thing.
but you just told me, you sat here and told me that you
don't even like me.
Yeah, like I tell you what's up, and you like it ain't even like that. Like, I'm just comfortable around you. You're like I trust you, and I fuck with our relationship enough to be comfortable around you. But I'm straight. Like, I don't like girls.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I mean, as far as what you should do, like, it really depends on how important the friendship is to you. You know, you expressed your feelings, and if it wasn't reciprocated, then that's fine. I mean, I feel like sometimes you can't tell people your feelings with the idea of wanting them, wanting that reciprocation. Sometimes you just got to tell them just to get it off your chest, just so you know, and you can't say you didn't know. And whatever comes of it, comes of it. So if those feelings and thoughts aren't reciprocated, it's just like, all right, I'm not going to take it personal, because I also prepared myself to know that it wouldn't be reciprocated. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why we tell people our feelings and with the expectations of like, we could feel it back. Like, nah. Yeah. Sometimes it's really not reciprocated, and you have to be okay with that. That doesn't make that person wrong because they don't feel the same. But all in all, like I said, it really depends on the friendship. If the friendship is important for y'all, and like, it's more important to sustain the friendship, then that's fine. You could take your space, being as though you did have feelings for her, and tell her like, let me relieve this shit real quick, and then we can get back to where we were. But I think at that point you have to set boundaries, so that it isn't that constant confusion of whether or not, like, are you just being the comfortable friend, or are you actually like throwing the oop at me? Question number 2. I've been in a closet for 30 years and I finally started dating. I've been on several dates, but nothing has happened. Usually the dates end up feeling like I'm hanging out with a friend. How do I make it feel like a date and not so friendly?
Wow. I have never gone out on a date with a girl and thought this was like too friendly. But
right? Because I feel like if you go out, not all, but I feel like some people will make the effort that when going on a date, I feel like they usually like create their fantasy date. And most times I feel like as females, when we create our fantasy date, it's like super, super romantic.
Yeah, like I'm bringing flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, will you bring flowers to your regular friends?
Right.
All the time?
Nah.
Like,
not likely.
I think it has to do with also just your connection with that person. Yeah. Because maybe a lot of those people were meant to be friends. That's why it felt like that. So sometimes you really have to like listen to your gut and like, damn, this is someone that I could be cool with. And it's like, maybe it's good that it didn't go further because you guys were just meant to be friends. Yeah. I feel like that sexual connection has also has to be there too. Yeah. Which is like something that comes naturally. But I feel like you gotta flirt a little too, Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You gotta play the field a little bit, you know? It's kind of like you're a kid again. I mean, I know some people kind of lose their way and they're like, "Oh, I haven't, dated or whatever in years.
I lost
and
my
like,
mojo.
and it's just like that's your time to like be that
like,
version
are
of
you
yourself. And if you make a fool out of yourself, you make a fool out of yourself.
right?
You gotta just play around and find your flow in dating. Dating is supposed to be, even though it could be a tragedy, it's supposed to be fun. That's where you get to make your mistakes. That's where you get to learn about what do you like and you don't like. I don't know why we put so much pressure on this idea of dating. You're either going to continue to see this person because they like you and the person that you've been showing them, or you'll never see them again. And that's okay. If I'm never going to see you again, then why should I give a fuck about, how I make myself look in front of you?
Right.
Because if you don't fuck with it, you don't fuck with it.
I also would love to know, like, what kind of dynamic is it? Like, is it two femmes? Is it like mass femme? Like, I mean, those things don't matter essentially, but I feel like it is a thing where it's like when two femmes are together, it's like, who's gonna make the first move? It's always like this like battle and that you're fighting internally of like,
I don't know. I feel like femmes nowadays are bold.
yeah, some down femmes are very bold. They just grab your face and kiss you.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe that's what you gotta do. No, you gotta ask for consent.
Grab my face and kiss me. I'm giving you
Like,
consent.
do you try to like hold her hand? Like on our first date, I held her hand, and then her hand was so sweaty.
I told her though. I told her.
I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, right. She's like, it's okay, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, don't sweat, don't sweat. It actually wasn't that sweaty.
They weren't that bad.
They weren't. They weren't. And then the more she kept fucking with it, and I was like, if you keep fucking with it, it's gonna start sweating. And sure enough, like once you mess with one, the other one starts sweating, and it was just like over it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think I was doing like this to your back.
Yeah, she was like rubbing my back, and I was like, I said, she better stop. Oh my God. Like, I was really like, oh shit, I think I'm gonna like her. She's touching me.
I can't.
And now,
shut up. Shut up.
Let's try this again. Last question. I've had the same best friend for over 20 years. I don't like her current partner. If you've never been in this situation, you're lying. You're fucking lying. She broke up with her for all the right reasons and are now back together. How do I continue to be a good best friend even though I don't support her relationship? I feel that I respect that they're back together, but I don't need to be accepting of it.
She respects it, but she doesn't have to accept it.
Yeah. Like, she could be respectful of the relationship, but I don't have to accept, like,
That's true. I mean, I would love to know what the drama is with her partner. Like, does she treat your best friend like shit? Like, because I feel like you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it in two different ways. Like, is their partner just like not for you? Like, you know how people are, they're like we wouldn't be friends type shit, but that's your partner, so I don't care. Or are they like a shitty partner to your friend? Because I feel like that's when it's more important. Like, it's like, how do they make your best friend feel? Like, it's like, what do they do? Are they cheating on them? Do they talk to them like shit? Then those things matter.
Yeah.
Those things really matter, because it's like, at the end of the day, like,
very distasteful.
You want the best for your friend, obviously, and it's like, you don't want to see your friend suffer. You don't want them to be in a shitty relationship. So I would love to know, like, why she doesn't like her, too. Like, I feel like that would help.
Yeah, I agree. I think, knowing, if that person is treating your friend like shit, obviously you want to be, you're just not going to fuck with them. It's just like, for what? Like, you treat them like that for what? I've been in situations where I didn't like some of my friends' partners because
Same.
It was toxic and they did treat them like shit.
Same.
I almost fought one of my best friends ex-girlfriend. And that bitch was ready to fight me. And I was like,
Oh,
that's when I knew that
Lord.
she was a psycho.
Oh, Lord.
And, you know, they got back together after that. And I was butthurt about it. Because I was like, wow, that's crazy. This shorty, like, I was finna fight shorty because she was wildin'. And then it was just like, I don't know. But I never faulted my best friend for it because at the end of the day, you know, we go through our shit where it's like we can't help who we love or who we're attached to, or we're not, things just aren't clear to us yet, you know?
Love is blind.
Yeah. So I never faulted her for it. I just did what I could to be supportive of her. I never ended up having like a close bond with her partner. Even with my other friend, the girl outed me and everything, and I was like, this girl don't even like me, like crazy. But you know, I wasn't the greatest fan of them, but I never wanted to put my friends in a situation where it's like they had to choose between their friendship and their relationship. Because I feel like I've been in that situation and I didn't like it, and it's very uncomfortable. And I guess it's the people pleaser in me, where I feel like, you know, I can control my emotions and how I feel towards a person and be cordial with them, because that's the way I'm going to get my time with my friend, you know? And I don't want to put my friend in that situation where they have to be like, oh, well, I can't invite you, or I can't have you around because you don't fuck with my partner, you know? Like, I could put my personal shit for that person being not shit aside. Just don't do the shit in front of me. But you know, I'm not going to take away my time and my, you know, what's the word? I'm just not going to take away my time with my friend away from myself because I don't want to be around your partner. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I got to take what I could get, you know?
I feel like you can still be a good friend without supporting the relationship. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like it's you and her. Like, you guys are friends. Y'all could still go out and do the things and talk on the phone and communicate and still be there for each other.
You can be supportive while not accepting.
Right. You don't got to be best friends with her partner.
Yeah.
Like, that's your friend. You know?
I think the best thing that you can do is be there, obviously, when your friend needs you, when struggling with that relationship. I don't think like you should be judgmental in a sense of like, well, that's why y'all broke up at the first time, you know, or that's why I tell you should leave her or whatever. Like, don't keep badgering them and throwing in their face how they should just fucking leave the person. They know that already.
I think that's just the annoying part. Yeah. Like, as someone who's been in this situation, it's like you sound like a broken record. Like, you literally sound like a broken record, because it's like they're gonna call you crying about the same shit that they always do, and it's like, to you, it's like, how many times are you gonna say it? You literally just have to listen.
Yeah, at that point, they just want someone to
literally listen. Yeah. They don't want advice. They just want someone to listen. And they know that. And they know that, like, they're dumb. Like, they know that it's like, damn, I keep crying about the same thing and calling my friend about the same thing. You don't got to tell them. Like, you don't have to be an asshole and be like, I told you so.
Yeah, just be their shoulder to cry on, and be the person that, you know, still, you know, is involved. And I guess just be cordial in the event that, you know, you are in the same, sharing the same space with the partner that you don't like.
Yeah.
That's all. As long as they don't come out of pocket and disrespect you, there's no need to really give them the energy, you know, of like, I don't fucking like you. Yeah. Most times the partners know people know when their partner's friends don't fucking like them. And they actually thrive off that shit, because now they're like, I can like, you know, I can pull her away from them because I essentially have the power.
Yeah.
So don't give them that power. That's really it.
All right, y'all. That is all. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Deuce, mother goose.
Bye.